Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode in Forgotten Vehicles. In this episode, we're going to be covering the Akuma, but before we get into that, let's dive into the Easter egg of the last episode. Of course, this was very much a little nod to the mission where you actually get the Valkyrie during the heist mission, and if you complete that, you get a discounted price for it, yada yada yada. And once again, it was a team effort. Everyone that was in the comments and wanted to participate saw it was pretty obvious, but I thought, sometimes it's nice to have them be a bit obvious and still think, oh hey, that sort of moment. But luckily though, there wasn't only Easter eggs, some of you actually got Vietnam flashbacks as well. So I apologize to those 65 people who are suffering from the same thing. I will try to not cover vehicles again that will give you Vietnam flashbacks. Jokes aside though, let's get into today's episode about the Akuma. The Akuma was first released in 2013 with the release of GTA Online and of course also with GTA 5. And during its time, it actually had a very interesting place inside of the motorcycles class. Obviously, the motorcycles class back then wasn't as big as it is now, especially after the biker update, it became very, very large. And yes, that's what she said. The Akuma always had a little bit of a battle going on between that and the Batty. Now, arguably the Batty is the better out of the two. However, the strength of the Akuma is and has always been the traction and the acceleration it has. In a straight line, you're never going to beat a Batty, and I'm pretty sure that till this day it's one of the fastest bikes in terms of top speed. But of course, the Akuma nowadays kind of have been replaced by the Shitaro, and arguably I'd say that it's a better bike overall, especially if you look at the ability of the Shitaro. The thing is just simply insane. But back in the day with the Akuma and the Batty, it was always an interesting choice. What exactly are you going to use it for in what kind of race? For example, in a race which has like a couple of straights, you're going to lose against the Batty pretty bad. However, if you had a race which was a lot more heavy on the corners and a lot more requiring of some traction and whatnot, then the Akuma was an excellent choice for sure. But what I am personally interested in actually is that what kind of player were you? Because personally I started out using the Akuma because I was like, okay, this is a fast bike, it accelerates fast, and back then I didn't really have too much knowledge about what was like the highest in terms of top speed. You saw a lot of baddies going on, but I think back in the day the general assumption was that the Akuma was the better bike out of the two. Another interesting thing as well is that whenever the heist came out, the Akuma was actually the bike to use to get there as fast as possible. Sure, the top speed of the Batty was quicker, but because of the acceleration of the Akuma, it was the better bike out of the two to use, even though the top speed wasn't all that great compared to the Batty. And another interesting discussion to have is the price point of the Akuma, because till this day it's still $9,000, and basically its replacement is over $2 million, which you could have a whole argument about inflation and the prices and stuff like that, but I feel that's beating a dead horse, but it kind of goes to show you how much GTA Online has changed over the years. But the interesting thing is that the Akuma isn't really all that much slower than the Shitaro is. And an even more interesting thing as well is how much it still holds up against all the newly released bikes as well. But those are just some of my thoughts about the Akuma. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Were you someone that was on the side of the Akuma or on the side of the Batty back in the day? Let me know in those comments down below. But with all that said and with all that done, thank you all so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.